John Kavakis here with another edition of My Take, and today I've got a model we've all been waiting a long time for. This is the NB Center Collection's 1946 Pontiac Torpedo 8 Sedan Coupe. Now, Pontiac used the name Torpedo for their top-of-the-line models in 1940 and 1941, but from 1942 on, they designated the baseline models. You get them with an 8-cylinder or a 6-cylinder. Like all the other manufacturers, Pontiac took a break for the war between 42 and 45. When they came back in 46, the designs for 46, everybody was eager to get back into production. There was great demand for new cars out on the street. So the designs were warmed over 42s. A little bit of detail change here and there, a little bit of trim, just so that people knew they had a new car. But the really new designs that didn't come out till 48 and 49 or so. Now, the car in the NB Center collection started life as a Pontiac Torpedo 6-cylinder, a baseline car. And now, in that year, Pontiac shared bodies with Oldsmobile and Chevrolet, just to keep prices down. But they were fairly basic, and the NB Center acquired this particular car as a parts car to donate parts to another car like it that they were restoring. But they got into the restoration and found out that the donor car they bought was in really good condition, and decided they were going to restore that one too. They bought out another donor car and took the 8-cylinder that was in that third donor car and the badging and the trim and made a brand new 8-cylinder Pontiac Torpedo Sedan Coupe. So the restoration took 2 years. It was painstaking, and it was incredibly accurate the way they brought it back together. This is something the NB Center does, and if you're not familiar with the NB Center, you need to know that the owner of the NB Center doesn't like trailer queens. He knows that there are plenty of people out there restoring Packards and Duesenbergs and the high-dollar, big-end cars, okay? But he has a passion for restoring the average, everyday car that you would see on the street. Now, nobody's really doing it to this level. He sees the heritage there. He sees Americana in it, and he wants to make sure that these cars are in good enough shape that coming generations will be able to look back and go, oh, those were the cars that people saw in the driveways as they drove through the neighborhoods. So when I was looking at this car for the first time when I went up to the NB Center, I was talking to Keith Flickinger, the director of the center, and he was encyclopedic in his knowledge on these older cars. And he was showing me the car and the shut lines on it and the finish in the interior and everything. And it was something he was quite rightly proud of. And he said, you know, this car is actually in far better shape than anything that ever came from the factory. And I agreed with him. And so I said, well, how long did it take? He said, about 2.5 years. I said, gee, how much did that cost? And when he told me how much it cost, it blew my mind. I'm like, oh my gosh, who spends that kind of money on a car like this? So I asked him, I said, well, look, can you sell this for that price? And he said, oh, absolutely not. You know, top dollar on a car totally restored, like this one right here, is somewhere around 20% of that. And I said, well, who does that? He says, a man who loves cars, a collector who has a passion for cars you drove out on the street. This is unique. This is something historic. There's heritage here. There's something beautiful going on. And all these cars, when you go up there and see them, you know, there's Pontiacs and Buicks and Chevrolets and Fords, and there's a few Cadillacs here and there, and but you know, they're just average cars, and they are in pristine condition. They're ready to run. He drives them. When you go up to as a guest at the NB Center, you'll drive them along with them. It's just an absolutely awesome little, I hesitate to call it a museum. It's kind of like a participatory center. And so he's doing it for you and me, so that we can appreciate what our dads and our grandfathers and our great-grandfathers drove. Now, and what Brooklyn's doing, when they make a model of these cars, they make an exact replica of the car in the NB Center collection. Now, every now and then, you know, might be a little bit of trim difference from what was offered at the factory and what's on the car. Maybe the tires are different, you know, that sort of thing. But what you get when you buy an NB Center model is you get an accurate reproduction of the car that's sitting there on the floor. You can actually go put your hands on the car, sit in it, take a look at it, maybe even drive it, and it will look just like the model. And Brooklyn goes the extra mile on accuracy on these things. I think these are some of the best models I've ever seen in 143rd. So we're going to take a look at this model, but I've left it in the box because I want you to see how complete the packaging is. There's been a lot of discussion over boxes and that sort of thing, but these models are keepsakes, they're heirlooms, and Brooklyn has finally come up with what I think is the best packaging in the industry. There's an outer sleeve, there's a little toolkit. I'll show you what this is for in just a little bit. You take the top of the box off, and the model is secure in that box, so it doesn't move around in shipping. It's absolutely fantastic. And it's got this heavy-duty plexiglass cover and a formidable base. There's two little brackets here that hold the cover in place. The beautiful white base with the NB Center Collection logo on it. It's, you know, the case is almost as beautiful as the model is. But if you want to be able to take the cover off, you've got this little Allen wrench that removes the two screws here on the end, and so you can take the cover off and put the model. If you wanted to go further, I've got a picture. You see the bottom of the thing, of the base here has two screws in it. You'll need a different type of screwdriver, but you can remove the model from its base. It's almost a shame to do it because they've done such a great job of bringing this package together. And here's what the casing looks like, just so you can get a good look at it. But let's take it out of there. I'm not going to do that here on the camera because it's going to take quite some time. We'll take it out of there and take a look at it. And then, so here's the model, and you know, on the turntable, here's the first thing, is the finish is impeccable. Brooklyn is really at the top of their game on laying the paint down and doing it right. This model had to be masked. The separation between the two-tone is absolutely perfect, even on the close-ups. And so this is some quality workmanship here. Around the front of the car, the grille is accurately replicated. The badge at the top of the grille has the right colors in it. The lensing on the headlamps has texture to it. They look real. It's got that trim piece that goes across the center of the hood and continues on back at the trunk. It's one of the hallmarks of Pontiacs in those days, and it is really well done with black wash and bright work. It's beautiful. The hood ornament is accurately replicated. The window surrounds are little bits of beauty. I think it's wire that they've used, but it's the right size, it's got the right brightness, and it is to scale and really adds to the authenticity of the car. The side windows and the windshield with the split windshield, and the back window as well. They've done a beautiful job of that. Got separate door handles, separate lock covers, little vent on the side of the hood. The antenna is made out of wire and can be reformed if you bend it. Sometimes ask me how I know that. The wheels are beautifully replicated. They look just like the ones on the car, and they're just like the ones that come from the factory. If you take a look in the brochures, you'll see they've done a really good job on the wheels. Around the back of the car, the taillights are beautiful, well picked out. The chrome on the bumpers is absolutely accurate. Again, they've got that trim piece that goes down the center of the hood that tells you this is a Pontiac. And around back there, you can see the separation between the two-tone. Now, the interior, I wish the window was down because the interior is a little jewel all on its own. The steering wheel is accurate. The grain on the dash, the dials and everything, beautiful. I've got a picture of it, a little bit fuzzy, but it'll give you an idea of what the dash looks like. But it doesn't stop there because the door panels and the seats are textured and they are very authentic in their appearance. It's a beautiful model. Now, let me tell you something. It's not inexpensive. This type of detail and quality is not going to come cheap. So this is 250 pounds, works out to about, I think, $266 at today's exchange rate. So it's a little bit of a price bump, not a whole lot, right around the middle of what we've come to expect from the NB Center. But I'm going to tell you how to save some money. If you are a member of the BCC, and if you're not, you should become one, because members of the BCC, when this model is released in another week or so, will be eligible for a 10% discount from the factory on this. So that's going to get you down to about 226 pounds or so. Now, the great thing about being a member of the BCC is if you're not already a member, you can become one. They have free membership till the end of the year. It's not a lot of time, but it's going to save you a ton of money. So if you sign up now, you can send to John Boyer an email to him. He'll get you signed up as a member. You'll get a copy of the club magazine. You'll get a copy of a individual club membership card with your number on it. And when the model's released, they're going to send you a code that you can order the model directly from Brooklyn at a 10% discount, and the shipping will come directly from Brooklyn and come directly to you. So it's a deal you can't beat. The 10% is enough to mitigate the price increase, but it's also enough to cover the cost of next year's dues for the club. So there's really no reason not to be a member of the club. You're not really obligated to do anything. You don't have to buy the car. But I'll tell you this, production is going to be limited. They're not going to make very many of these. And so the way this is going to work is when it's released, it will go to the club members first before it goes on the website. If the club members buy up the rest of the production run, it will not go to the website. Now, Brooklyn will let that run for about 10 days, 2 weeks or so. And once there are, if indeed there are any left at the end of that period, then they'll go up on the website. You'll still be able to use your club discount to get it, but then you run the risk of not being able to get it at all because, again, production numbers are going to be very small on these. Well, okay, we had a few technical problems there at the end, but what I wanted to add right here is, hey, thanks for watching. I'd love to have a thumbs up if you liked the video. We'd love to hear your comments. We like the dialogue, and of course, we'd love to have you as a subscriber. Thanks for watching my take, and I've got plenty of videos coming. Keep your eyes on the channel. I'll talk to you real soon.